I'm Bradley Denniston, and in this video today, we're going to talk about your transients in your drums and how we can keep your tracks very lively even while you're using modern compression and limiting. Now, if you guys get anything from this video, please subscribe to the Waves channel. You're going to love it. There's a lot of new stuff coming out, lots of tutorials, lots of game on mixing, mastering, production, all sorts of cool stuff. So definitely subscribe to the channel. Let's dive right in. Now, if you have a hard time with your drums kind of getting squashed and lost in the mix because you're using a bunch of compression and limiting and you're trying to get that modern sound, but you want those transients to still stay alive, this video is for you. So make sure and save it. I'm going to dive right into my drum mix bus right away and show you what I'm doing here. This obviously sparked a lot of interest from Jaycen Joshua, very big time Grammy, multi-Grammy winning mixing engineer. Using the NLS bus technique, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 NLS buses. I have a REQ taming out a little bit of the low stuff. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more NLS buses. All right. So quite a bit, right? But this not doing much as far as tweaking anything. And you can see these, screenshot them, make sure you save this and, see how I got this set up. I set it up a little bit different than Jaycen Joshua. I don't use a whole lot of drive. I just kind of turn them on and then I just, filter out whatever's overdoing, right? So that's what this is with these drums, and let's hear them. Now, it's a great way to get some saturation. It makes the drums kind of stick out and pop out of the mix a little bit more, gives you more punch and just a really nice feeling to the drums. The second thing I want to show you is parallel compression. Obviously, I always use that with drums. And what I'm doing with the parallel compression, it's typically on the kick and snare. If the hi-hats need it, I'll do some parallel compression on the hi-hats, but typically I don't, just because then they can get really noisy and you have this like, washy kind of top 2K to 6K kind of thing going on, and that's not always necessary, but I always do it on my kick and snare as far as parallel compression. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just using the SSL Comp, and this is the G series bus compressor. It's amazing. It is world renowned. It's very punchy and it won't kill your transients, which I love. And I'll do that at an attack of 30 milliseconds, pretty typical. And I'll do that at auto on release, or I'll do it very fast on release, depending on the BPM of the song. This one's pretty fast at 172, right? Kind of a pop punk electro vibe. And then the threshold, I'll take it down till I'm hitting about 8 dB or so of compression, and then I'll make up the 8 dB on the makeup gain here. Okay, so let's hear this bypass the in and out. This is just the parallel compression.
Red light, red light, red light. You run right through these. Red light, red light, red light. Your friends are all red lights.
Just kind of helps those drums really fill out and thicken out and have that low level information come up so that we have those drums always staying where they need to stay. Now, the last thing I want to show you is building a bus for some distortion to keep your transients really hitting. So as you limit and stuff, you start to choke out some of that top immediacy of the transient. And when we say transient, we're really talking about the initial attack of something. Right? When you clap, that's a really hard transient. It's a fast transient. If you hit something like, a phone, it's a little bit slower, right? It's not as immediate. If you hit a desk, it's not going to be as immediate. The bigger the thing, the boom. The lower the thing in frequency, we're going to get less of a transient. Now, I like to kind of fake this, where if you have a kick drum and it's low and it's going do, 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 do. I want to have that that top spit part, right? So what I do here to get that effect is I parallel send the kick and the snare, typically, and the hi-hats if you want to get more of that top spit. I'll send that to a bus and I do the Magma BB tubes, right? And what we're going to do here is we're going to do the bass relief. I'm going to take that pretty far up because I don't really want to distort the low bass stuff. I really want to distort kind of the 2, 3K and above, right? So we're going to just hit this with a ton of distortion. We'll turn up Beauty, we'll turn up Beast, and we will just leave that where it's at. And then on the SSL EV2 channel, I like to compress the crap out of that. And then I will filter out everything from the bottom and the top. And I'll try to get just the top high mids, right? And that's what's going to really help kind of define that transient and point our ear to it. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this threshold. We're going to turn it like pretty heavy. We're going to compress, try to get like 6 to 10 dB of compression here. And I like the SSL compressor at a 2:1 1 to 3 to 1, 2.5 to 1 on the ratio, and then the compressor on the release about the same. So I like to hold that pretty well, but that's still fast. If you hit this fast attack, you're kind of ruining the idea of what we're doing here. But the SSL fast attack here is still going to let some transients through, but I wouldn't turn that on for this purpose because we're trying to get it transients to happen. So we want that attack to come through, and then we want to compress and grab on it. So attack, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is get that attack. All right, so we'll leave it there and we'll adjust the release as we listen, but let's just do this on the kick and the snare. So we have a snare top, snare body, and we have a kick, and let's just do the hats and everything as well. Why not? So I'm going to option click on the bus send. So we're going 100% to that, okay, to our parallel here. And now we can go to the parallel and we can blend this in as we need it. Okay, so let's hear it.
Red light, red light, red light. You run right through these. Red light, red light.
Now you can hear that sort of like phasing it out. It sounds really weird with the drums. And this is where we really use the filters, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the filter up all the way up, right? We're going to go 350. And sometimes you can use another EQ like an REQ or any sort of filter to filter even higher up, right? And in this case, I'm going to do that because I really just want the top, okay? So after the SSL, let's put on the REQ and let's filter out all the way up to, let's say 1.8, 1.7, okay? So we're not getting anything from the bottom, but we do want to compress this really hard and hit this really hard with the SSL. So let's do that.
Red light, red light, red light. You run right through these. Red light, red light, red light. Your friend.
So now we're getting that really cool tone. Now let's push into the Magma BB tubes, where this is where the distortion is coming from, right? We can even take the bass relief down, see if it changes the harmonic structure of it, and then we'll turn the beauty and the beast up, and we're just gonna listen. That's all we're doing.
Red light, red light, red light. You run right through these. Red light, red light, red light. Your friends are all red lights.
Now that's like way overdoing it, but I want to just kind of let your ear hear that. And then I'm going to pop this parallel tube bus in and out so you can really hear what it's doing with the drum transients. And then we'll blend it in to where it's just really giving us those transients and we're not losing them, okay? So let's mute the P tubes. Parallel tubes is what I call this, right? Let's hear it without it.
Red light, red light, red light. You run right through these. Red light, red light, red light. Your friends are all red lights.
And you can hear right away the drums are getting spittier. You can hear them much more defined. They're coming out of the speakers a lot harder. But now let's just blend it back in the mix and we'll just blend it up until we go, oh, that's great. The drums are really now hitting and we're not losing those transients.
Red light, red light, red light. You run right through these. Red light.
Now that's sounding really good to me and it's bringing the liveliness back to the drums. So now what we can do is we can pop this in and out. But before I do that, I don't want to take the hi-hats to the parallel send here on this P tubes, right? Because as you can hear, it's like all of a sudden the hi-hat gets really loud. Let's bypass in and out that send to the parallel tubes bus. Great, that's sounding awesome to me. It's bringing those transients to life. I love that part of it. Sounds great. But now let's bypass all three processes and bring them in and out so you can really hear how we bring these transients up and punch through the speakers. That's what this whole thing is about. So we're gonna bypass the NLS bus, the drum mix bus. We're gonna bypass the parallel compressor and we're going to bypass the parallel tubes and then we're gonna bring them back in. Let's listen.
Right through these. Red light, red light, red light. Your friends are all red lights. Through these. Red light, red light, red light. Your friends are all red lights.
So that's how I keep my transients smacking you in the face right out of the speakers, even while I'm doing really modern techniques on the master bus. If you got something out of the video, definitely drop some love on the video. Ask some questions. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and subscribe to the Waves channel. Got a lot of new game coming out from some great creators. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.